We're talking about the dark side of Christianity and answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
He said it was like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table with this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah, he's saying hi, baby girl. He's saying hi, baby girl. And is there significance with like image of a rose at all?
He would
Does that
always
make sense?
give me a rose.
Okay, so he's like doing one now. He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine. Somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some MagnaWave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I said, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
There's a reason why we're on this timeline. There's a reason why we've chosen to be in this awakening. I say we're going through a spiritual awakening.
So I don't just come out here and talk bullshit and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everybody. Did you miss me last week? Because I missed y'all. Do y'all have a great 4th of July? Lighting up those fireworks, firecrackers? Or do y'all just kind of stay in and nuzzle up and pretend and just hear it outside as the dogs go crazy? What did you all do on your 4th? Let's see who's in the room. Let's get a couple shout outs here. Jennifer Cruz, hello. My maker, my mother. Brenna Zueck, hello. Kara Dog, welcome. Our wonderful mod Nina is in the room. Give her some shout outs today, too. Kara Dog, I don't know if I just mentioned it. David Cruz, AC, good to see you. Kristen Villaro, 14, good to see you. Sydney Aaron, hello. As people are in here, I'm here. Carrie Carney, good to see you. Welcome. Noel Way, what's up, gorgeous? Kat Reader, hello. Erica Emody, I'm glad you're feeling better today. Good to see you. And who's going on in the chat here more? Just scrolling. Patty Snow, good to see you. And CT Organics, hello, good to see you. And all you're watching, I can't see who's watching, I can only see who's chatting. And James Porterfield says, let's see what he says here, big paragraph. Everyone is doing great this week. I can't stay and play. I have a breathwork class tonight, but I want to check in and say hi and wish you all a fantastic week ahead. Have to catch a replay. James, thanks for letting us know. Good to see you. Enjoy your breathwork class. And so tonight, big kind of heavy topic, huh? The dark side of Christianity. And I'll let you know what inspired me to dive into this topic. I have experiences in this topic of Christianity because I once was a Pentecostal Christian, practicing one, have plenty experiences. And I feel like there's a need to discuss that because as our spiritual communities are growing, there's opposition with the Christian spiritual communities, kind of combating our spiritual communities in a sense of that we're the dark side and they are the light side. So we'll get into that nonsense in a moment. And we'll get into the collective read. And those who don't know, how I start the show is I do a collective read. And I don't mean to put that up again. A collective read and do live readings too. And so there's $15 for card pull, $20 for one question, $30 for two questions, wrong finger, and $40 for a live video question. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description, and our wonderful mod Nina will help you along the way. Rashida, good to see you. I'm glad you made it. Nicole Cahoon, welcome. I'm glad to see you on the YouTube now instead of the Instagram. It's been a while, so good to see you here. So welcome. It's been a long time. And so yes, Anita can help and direct you if you want to get a question and live reading and all that great stuff. And let's start with the collective read, and let's shuffle these cards over here. We'll get some some music underneath to kind of fill in the gaps of my shuffling the cards. Allie Taylor, good to see you. Tommy Garassi, hello, welcome in. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. Okay, shuffling these cards. It's been an interesting Cancer season. I'm sorry, guys. I've been saying this for months. We're going through this kind of heavy pressure since Aries season. Aries, Gemini, now we have Cancer. Oof, 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 oof. Intense emotion, crazy emotion, and now... Well, I actually would say it was intense emotion, split emotion. Now we just got a roundabout crazy emotion, so that could be very, very cumbersome. Celeste, good to see you. Welcome in. So... I know a lot of people this week primarily, and I'm definitely going to do a read for the week too, because I always love doing reads for the week. If I have to do something of the months ahead, then I'll do that accordingly. But, every time the collective read we start will be for the week. And usually the collective read, when I shuffle the cards, and it always kind of is somewhat on par to my topic that I pick. So that we'll see how it aligns with the topic that I picked tonight. And those of you who don't know, I'm not a tarot reader. I utilize tarot because I'm a psychic medium, so I don't need the tarot, but I utilize the tarot in circumstances like this to guide me on where to speak and where to go. So let's see what we're talking about here. And yes, it's been a crazy week. I know a lot of people have been feeling ill. A lot of people have been feeling the heaviness. A lot of you guys are empaths. You might be feeling a lot of heavy energy and tired energy. I've been tired very much the past week and a half because I can pick up on the collective energy. So a lot of you guys are feeling a lot of tension, heaviness, and you have to be able to distinguish when it's your own versus you pick up on the collective. A lot of you guys are thinking it's your own crap, and you already have enough of your own crap. If you're an empath to the point you feel the collective energy, then it's just more crap on top of your crap, and that just be too much crap. We don't want that. So make sure that you are understanding that when you are actually picking up on the collective energies, it is heavy. It is heavy. Because people are going cray-cray. And so let's see what the cards have to say about the cray-cray, right? Yeah. Leo season will be a little different, so we'll have a different shift in Leo season when it comes up in Leo season. I think you guys will feel more of your foundation, more of that strength. There might be some delusion in Leo season, but we'll get to that when Leo season comes, right? There we go, the crap pack emoji. Thank you, Erica, for emoting that. Erica Emoji is emoting the crap. Okay, I like this so far. All right. All right, let's shuffle the oracles, and we'll get into this. It's live, so y'all have to see me shuffle and process and do all that great stuff and where spirit want to go. Yeah, so make sure you hit that like button, everybody. You guys are pretty good at doing that. I know a lot of people straggle on in after. I do see a lot of people watching the replays, but get people in to come live. Cray, crack, crap. That's where it's rap. Is that what you just said, Michelle Bell? Okay. I like this, okay. I'm sure we said this before, and a lot of times the messages will have to be repetitive because you guys are going through different situations that require a cheerleader, right? Sometimes we need a cheerleader. Sometimes we have to hear the same message 2, 3, 4, 5 times again to get it, for it to process, for it to sink in, right? Iris, welcome. So they're saying today that you guys have to remember right now that I pulled the Empress card, which to me it's like works for male and female, meaning that we do have the power to create. We do have the mastery, the power of mastery to get through our circumstances, and that you should be confronting the darkness. You should be actually looking into the void energy right now, because it's through that darkness, it's through the void, we have the creative energy. We need the dark to create, right? We need the dark to create the light. And so now is the time of this week primarily, it's to walk through that darkness. A lot of you guys have been resisting the darkness. And yes, it might feel like there's a lot of opposition, a lot of things coming at you at once, but you are the main goal, you're the main attraction to all those things that come to you, so you have that power. If you didn't have that power, you wouldn't be having all these different elements trying to grab onto your energy. You wouldn't have all these different forces trying to grab onto your energy if you were powerless. So the very fact that things are pulling at you means that you do have the power to sustain and also to feed the things you don't want to be feeding, actually. And so there's many actual entities in your life, and we call these entities spiritual beings or physical beings, that are trying to latch onto your energy to suck the energy from you. So the question is, while you're walking through the darkness, while you're taking that stroll through the dark path to kind of illuminate for you that whatever needs to be illuminated, are you allowing yourself to be a victim or privy to another energy to suck off your energy, or are you protecting yourself as you're walking through the darkness? Okay? And so as you're walking through the darkness, you should be able to still hold the light up into your path, a light up into your sight of what's ahead, and also light around you. because we have to take a walk through the darkness. There's actually a lot you can discover in the darkness. I mean, sometimes when people say darkness, they refer to that as evil. And I like to say, in regards to that, when the sun sets, do you guys all of a sudden say, well, it's evil outside because the sun is set, it's dark now it's evil, stay inside? Not necessarily. They're just different dualities that we have. And there's a reason for the duality of the dark and the light. But a lot of us are taking that path through that darkness. So let's have a little bit of fun with that. And let's allow our own light to navigate that path. And so the light is the soul within. The light is the realization of what you are actually doing to accomplish in this lifetime. What are you doing to make sure that your soul is expanding in this lifetime? That's the light. That's actually what's going to illuminate the path of darkness. And so if you're allowing the opposition that you're feeling, a lot of it's trickster energy, guys. A lot of you guys are having like trickster energy around you, meaning that you have people trying to play with your energy, almost like you feel like you're being tested in a sense. But that usually happens that when you have momentum in life, you're making certain changes, you're having your Tower card moment, meaning that things are breaking down, you're breaking down ideologies, you're breaking down some emotional investments, you're breaking down relationships, you're breaking down the way you see things. You're going to have things kind of coming at you and attract you like bugs in a sense, like insects coming to try to pick at you. Right? Because you're shedding layers. So therefore, you're almost like fresh meat in a sense, if you think of it that way. When you kind of shed these layers, it's fresh meat. So new entities, new energies will start kind of smelling you around and sifting and sorting. What's this new energy? So you're going to feel a lot of trickster energies, a lot of poking at you energies, because you are changing. You are shedding those layers, figuratively speaking. And so therefore, you're going to start experiencing new different energies and modalities in a sense, both emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. So what that means is that you are going through a transformation. So these cards are kind of like, really laying it out here, especially with the Death card and the Tower card in the same spread there, right? And so this opposition is not so much opposition as you're kind of you guys have been opening yourselves up, especially down this path of darkness, to different possibilities. But you should be able to sift and sort and swat away the things that don't resonate and swat away things that are just kind of draining your energy in a sense. So, and a lot of this is personal. A lot of you guys are feeling the drain from personal relationships, but a lot of you guys are feeling the drain from the collective. Like I said in the beginning, you guys have to be very, very keen on whether or not your empathy is picking up on your own personal circumstances, or if you're actually just amplifying the collective energies around you. And a lot of times, even the collective energy that you're resonating with will kind of direct you to certain personal things that you might be also failing to look at and to, I would say, give healing to. But there's a lot of empaths that are just being too much of an empath in a sense. You guys are picking up on too much. You're feeling too much. And do you have to feel everything all the time? Is it necessary to feel everything all the time? And especially now that we're kind of coming close to we're in election year and coming close to the elections soon. There's a lot of that political heaviness going on and the divides in that regard, and people keeping their mouth shut because they don't want to discuss things to upset people. So you have that heaviness going on, right? So, and people have just been walking around very constipated, kind of like, see them walking around like they're holding everything in, they don't want to say anything, and so all that heaviness. And so in your personal life, it's time to release that. The path of darkness actually allows you to release. Because, when you're in the path of the light and things are very vibrant, you're enjoying, you're exploring, you're experiencing. But when you're walking the path of darkness right now, you're actually allowing yourself to release and say, what? I don't need this crap. I don't need this crap here. I don't need this cumbersome relationship. I don't need this ideology. I don't need this. I don't need that. You start shedding those older beliefs in the path of the dark, so you start creating a different path of the light. So understand this void energy you might be feeling too, like lack of direction. Again, it's just similar to the essence of the darkness. It's time to start creating. It's time to start creating a different modality right now. And if you're not creating a different modality into the direction that you desire, and that is resonant with your soul, you're gonna feel a void. You're gonna feel like things are kind of like uncertain. I don't know where to go. You do know where to go. A lot of people say they don't know where to. A lot of people say they don't know where to go because they don't want to do the work to get out of it. They know where to go. They don't know how to get there, and that's the problem. But when you guys focus on more of the direction of what you need internally, then all the physical layouts, all the physical steps become obvious. You just say, well, I deserve more for myself in this format. So therefore, your brain starts saying, well, then do this. Well, then do that. You start kind of formulating ideas of how to get it done. When you're in a contentious relationship and you have to get out, but there's certain conditional aspects that you have that are holding you into it, well, then you have to understand too, well, you're craving independence, And so you want to find a way to create independence for yourself before you actually decide to leave that relationship. Because, and I speak of this all the time, but people are still struggling with this type of conditional relationship in their lives. I'm seeing this a lot still, is that, take advantage of the conditional relationship that you've bargained for, that you've asked for, and allow those conditions to support your independent journey, so then you can be in the independent state of yourself. And so a lot of you guys are saying, well, if I leave, I don't know what's going to do. If I leave, I don't have this emotional support. If I leave, then I don't know what I'm going to do for myself, and I don't know how I'm going to stand on my own and support myself. And we're saying, allow the conditions that you currently have, that you bargained for, to set you up for that independence. And if you do, you take advantage of that, then you start seeing how you can start laying that independence out for you. That's, again, being in the dark. When you're sitting in the modality of, I need to get out of this, but I don't know how, you're in the dark right now. So now it's time to look in that darkness and say, where am I heading? Where do I want to go? So I'm keeping things very simple. I'm trying not to be overly philosophical tonight. I just want to be very simplistic on kind of pushing guys into the realization of, there's a dark path and a light path, and they're both necessary. The light path is when you're embracing, experiencing, and expanding. And the dark path means you're trying to set a realization. You're in wonderment, and you're creating the steps for the next path. You're creating the steps towards the path of the light. You're letting go and releasing things within you that no longer serve you, that are yet been over encumbered by. Right? So that's the point of this. So once you guys understand that duality in this week, I would say, and understand what the darkness is really telling you, and I love this card just stood on its own about blossoming. This is what blossoming is, right? If you think about, pregnancy and giving birth, is it all just peaches and cream to just pop out a kid? Or is there pain, and is there you have to contract and restrict and push, and there's that pressure, there's a lot of that resistance, and so that's a process of giving birth. It's not just I'm not giving birth, what a wonderful experience, and the kid plops out. It doesn't happen that way, right? Same thing with a butterfly emerging from the cocoon. That's a push against all that resistance of opening that cocoon, and boom, then it emerges. It doesn't just go, I'm a butterfly, I'm just love and light, right? It doesn't happen that way. So understand, when you're in these moments of restriction and compression and contraction, that you actually are blossoming. You're growing. You're giving birth to a newer version of yourself. That's the point. That's the point of this week primarily. And so, the closer we come to the Leo season, what you're going to be required is that you're going to need to have this realization. You need to understand this about what's been happening in your life. Instead of making excuses about politics, make excuses about the family member, they're the ones doing this and why they're doing that. Stop making those excuses instead of looking within of why you're actually experiencing it. Because it doesn't matter what the people in your life are doing to you. The question is why you're around to experience it. Why you're still around the situations to endure it. That's the main question. Why is it important to you? You're in it. Understand your power within that, because when we hit Leo season, if you haven't recognized this, you'll probably fall into a state of delusion. And you'll have a false sense of confidence to where you'll start feeling like things are not going your way, and you'll be overly arrogant about it too. You want to go into Leo season understanding that you've healed the different parts of yourself, and you're emerging now to be confident in the self and confident in where you want to go in the future. You're confident in what you know that's best for you, and it's happening. You see it happening. That's how you want to enter Leo season, okay? Simple collective read on there. Excuse me. And let me just see if there's anything else before I get into the topic, too, because I don't want to spend so much time on the topic. But yes, understand the collective read, guys. Understand the collective message and collective energies you're all picking up on, too, and how to decipher such. Because I don't want to keep saying the same message. Oh, you guys are experiencing past trauma. You guys experience past trauma. Yeah, that's always ongoing. But where do you stand with your past trauma? How about this? Where are you standing with your past trauma? Is your past trauma in a stage of it's still active? Or is your past trauma in the process of being healed? Are you seeing yourself blossoming from that? Or are you just ignoring your past traumas? Or have you healed from it and you're completely detached from it? Where do you stand with your past trauma? Let's stop making excuses of, I'm dealing with past trauma. I'm dealing with past trauma. But where do you stand with it, though? You should be observing to what degree, what level are you at with your trauma, and understand there needs to be progression. You can't keep saying, I'm dealing with trauma. Oh, it's past trauma. Oh, it's past trauma. I do this because of past trauma, past trauma. You can't keep repeating that over and over and over again. Where's your progression with it? And if you're healing your past trauma, you should see the movement. You should see the progression in your life. You should see the determination in your life of what you are doing to pull yourself out of it. You should see the strength resurrecting from your experiences. And once you're, outside of and healed your past traumas and come to terms with it, then you can be objective and say, oh, this is what I've been through. I've been through all this. And I'm going to go into that in a moment in my own life and be objective about my past traumas that I've experienced. Because when you're outside of it, you can look at it and appreciate it objectively and not be, I would say, reactive to that, not be triggered by it, right? So it's time to start asking yourself, where are you at with your trauma? Are you still stuck in it and dwelling in it and creating that trauma in every other aspect of your life? And and creating the abusive energy of that person and creating that entity in every other person in your life ahead? That's what happens when we have an abuser. We tend to create that abuser in every other entity, and to think everybody else is like that abuser. It's not rational. Are you rational? And if you're not rational in that sense, and being irrational, that you're still stuck in your trauma. But if you're healing it, there's a sense of hope. And you guys know I don't like the word hope. I think it's for pussies. But for lack of better terminology, that when you're healing, you can see the faith in the self. You can see that I know I can see myself coming out of this. I'm in it. I'm processing it. But I know I see myself outside of this and being strong. And that's a choice, by the way. It's a choice. A lot of you guys are waiting for yourselves to feel that feeling. I'm waiting to feel like I've healed the trauma. I'm waiting for myself to feel like I'm strong. It's not, you don't wait for that to happen. You choose for that to be a mindset. You choose for that to be a focus. You choose for yourself to have that intellect and perspective. It's a choice. It's a choice. Say, I want to see myself. I want to see myself out of this. I can now see myself no longer having these cumberments and these anchors in my life. It's a choice to see it that way. So where do you stand on that? And wherever you stand is where you've chosen to be, and it's all a result of your own actions and behavior. And so, and some of you guys got so used to kind of just, having your traumas be your excuse. A lot of guys have allowed the story of, I know my trauma, and the fact of getting attention for your trauma. Some of you guys are just stuck in that too. Just allowing the trauma to be an excuse why you can't do things and why people can kind of give you some sort of love. And so some of you guys have kind of stuck in that sense. Well, if I stay in my trauma, then I get love. Well, sympathy is not love, really. And people don't like to be around people they have to continuously be sympathetic towards. People just tend to move on. So now it's time to stop making excuses for the trauma. And I always say my trauma is like a notch on my belt. Every trauma I've been through now, it's like a notch on my belt. I'm proud of my traumas. I'm proud of the things I've overcome and been through. Because I've learned and I've extracted the power from them. So I never look back. I'm like, oh my God, I can't talk about it. If you're in a stage you can't talk about it, you're still attached to it. And you can't be objective by it. Okay? So I love this card kind of just fell out. The change. Bringing some change, baby. I don't know if you can see it. The camera zooming. And beginnings. Right? And there's a beauty to this process, guys. These cards are just kind of flowing out. It's funny, right? There's a beauty blossoming. And where's the beauty that just came out too? I mean, I swear I just saw beauty. Oh, there it is. I swear. Right? Beauty. And so, there's a beauty to this process. Stop resisting it. Stop resisting it. And I just so sick of people saying, I don't want to be negative. I don't be negative. Hate to break it to you. If you're resisting your trauma, you're in a state of negativity because you're fragmented. You're disoriented. You're beside yourself. You're negative. Okay. If you're not whole and complete and solid in your foundation, both figuratively and literally, then you're negative. Hate to break it to you all. If you're in a situation where you feel disconnected, you're in a negative state, period. If you feel like you're in contradiction in your life, you're in a negative state. Hate to break it to you. But that's okay. It's all right. We use negativity. So, I'm seeing so much delusion in the spiritual communities that they're in these such dire, treacherous situations in their life that's so splitting of themselves. But yet they're saying, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to think negative. Oh, that's too negative. It's like your whole life isn't being negative right now. What are you talking about? Let's address it. Let's approach it. Let's embrace it. Let's understand it's just a component of life that we can heal and fix it. That's where our power comes from, the negative. The power comes from the negative. You all think the power only comes from the light. That's bullshit. Light is a result of your power. When you have power, you create light. When you have power, you create the light. The light shines. So please understand and utilize this dark period in your lives right now, guys. And it's all a messenger. Every situation in your life is a messenger. Everything around you is telling you where you stand with yourself in your life. Look at it that way. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. And so I say this a lot too. People always ask about the signs. I'm like, look around you. Look around you. The person giving you attitude. What energy are you harboring? Because what you react to, you relate to. Some people treat me like crap. I'm like, whatever, that's their problem. You know, they probably are just mad because I'm happy. Or sometimes I'm walking around kind of like irritated and irritable. You know, that's my own crap, right? And so, you know, it's always important to understand what you're experiencing around you. And, you know, for me, it's like even today I was kind of feeling like this heavy energy, and I'll be vulnerable for a moment with I'm not walking around happy 24/7 myself, but I process differently. And I was a little irritable today. I was just feeling everybody's energy was just irritating me. I was like annoying me. People just like being inconsiderate and just like, ugh, can't stand these people. And I was so wrapped up in that energy that I lost my wallet. It took me time to find my wallet. I'm like, oh my God, I lose my wallet. Now it's like, you know, it's an expensive wallet too. And then I have to close my cards out. Ugh, now what do I do if I can't pay for anything? Oh, yeah, right? And so I'm just thinking to myself, it just, that energy just threw my afternoon off. And then I go back, they go back to the grocery store. They didn't find it. No one turned it in. Like, of course someone stole it. It's an expensive wallet. Well, duh, right? And I go home. I'm like, but I don't feel like I left it there. The whole time, it was just right on the passenger side of the passenger floor, the floor of the passenger side of my car. I'm like, if I wasn't in that fragmented state of irritation, I wouldn't have created more irritation in my life. That wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been so like, you know, I wouldn't be lacking perspective. You know, I wouldn't be so careless in viewing. So, you know, and I think that's the issue that happens, that we don't realize what we do to ourselves when we're in that state. So, but I was aware. I was being conscious. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's why I experienced that. I was being so fragmented, you know, so. Okay. The dark side of Christianity. We'll get to this now. And at any moment in time, if you guys have questions or responses regarding the topic, chime in the chat, okay, about your experiences with Christianity. But I wanted to get into this discussion because it is part of my trauma, actually, because I was about 12 or 13, I was introduced to the Christian church, and I was a part of the youth group. And of course, you know, we just moved. I found good family and friends around there, and you know, and it was like, it felt like good, like a kind of a family experience, and all like praising God and worshiping God and all that stuff, because I was 12, 13. But as I gotten older, and I started witnessing, of course, people praying on people and falling over, you know, and I would kind of sit in the church and I would see, you know, a few people praying on people, and I would see like snakes in their bodies. And I'm like, that person like has bad energy. And I would bring it to some of the leadership's attention, and they'd just be like, you know, shrugging me off. And then like months later, that person would be kicked out of the church. And, you know, I would tell my mom, like, Mom, don't let them pray on me. There's bad energy there, right? So I would see that in a church. And then the speaking of tongues and so forth. And so the deeper I got into it, of course, I started believing in it. But then as I became outwardly gay, you know, as a lot of you guys know, there was a big problem there, because, you know, they were kind of convincing me that you need to change. You can't be around secular people. You have to cut out secular music. And they were trying to really kind of conform me. So, and this is before they put me in conversion therapy. So they used to pray on me. I used to go to the altar, get prayed for all the time. It was like an everyday ritual and process. And of course, they'd pray on me. Then I would, you know, feel the possession coming on. Then I'd be, you know, doing like what you see possessions are, shaking and screaming. And they'd be praying on me and doing exorcisms on me because, you know, I was gay. And I started to believe like I need to kill myself, kill this out of me, get it out of me, I'm going to hell. And so this was like for many years, and I'd be up to the altar and dedicating my life to the Lord, praying to Jesus Christ. Why is this changing from me? And at the time it was a time of puberty. So of course, you know, my hormones are running rampage, but I had to deny all that and turn it down. And so I'm in conflict. And so, and then I was also sexually assaulted by a married man in the church. That became prevalent in the church too, which means I was underage, grown man, you know, assaulted me twice. And I confronted him and I said, you either tell your wife that this has occurred, or I'm going to tell her for you. And she better be crying Sunday morning in church. And so, of course, this is the irony of Christian religion. They confronted me. The whole church found out. They made me a spectacle in the church and said I have to leave the choir, because I was in the choir, and seek conversion therapy. They basically blamed the underage minor because I was open about it. I was open about my sexuality. But he was in the closet about it, and he was married, so he could continue to minister in the church, but I had to be basically condemned and shunned from the whole congregation and all the whispers because I was out about it. And it was basically my fault, even though I was assaulted. And so I started conversion therapy for many months. And, it was very weird to me because, I was starting to see many things. They would follow me if I would be going somewhere. I would find them following me if I was in a friend's car. I see them like kind of spying on me if I was at the mall. I would see them kind of, follow me and stuff like that. It was very crazy. And so I was with, another pastor who was, conversion therapy, 3 to 4 months of that. And I was borderlining turning 18 at that time. And the odd thing was that I'm like, this is strange. Like, why do I have to keep a list? They made me write a list of all the sexual activities I've done in my life that I experienced. And before this, I was like wanting to be a minister. I was a minister in training. So like I was doing this so I could be a minister, all of those things. And so I'm like, okay, I'll entertain this. But something within me is like, this is just something wrong here. So I wrote down all the times I had a sexual thought. I had to keep a journal with me, take the journal to school, on the bus. If anytime I had a sexual thought, I had to write it down in this notepad because we're going to identify. What did I do sexually? What was my favorite body part? All these like really intrusive things emotionally of privacy. But I was brainwashed to think this is going to stop me from going to hell, and this is going to stop me from, becoming sinful and cleanse me of spirituality. And so I did this at a very vulnerable stage. Of course, this created a lot of suicidal ideation within me. I tried killing myself twice. Of course, each time there was a voice said, don't listen to this nonsense. There's more for you in this lifetime. I heard a loud voice say that to me as I was like trying to kill myself in this time. And everyone was against me at that time. And so even myself, because I believed in it. And so I was like programmed to believe that this is sinful, that I have to change. And so at that point, I'm like, well, if I'm going to go to hell, let's go now, because this is hell right now, what I'm going through at this young age. No support. And so I continue with that. And so when I had to turn in those books and the list of all that sexual thoughts and a whole journal, like there's a book this thick of journal of every day of every time I had a sexual thought, I gave it to the pastor. And we never discussed it. And I said, are we ever going to go through that? He's like, oh, we will later. We will later. And I said, something came to me and I said, this person's getting off on this. They're getting off on this. It's getting off on everything that I'm doing. And so I said to myself, this guy's gay. This guy's gay. So it was leading in my heart, my soul. And luckily enough, the sister of this pastor actually lived in the church, or went in the church, and was a close friend of the family's. She was a wonderful person. And she came up to me and she saw me being very suicidal, crying, and, always walking around angry, and like I was just dead. I was dead inside. Just dead. My 15th birthday, I'm like, just dead, right? They were sucking the soul from me. And so when I reached out, and she reached out to me, actually, the sister of this pastor reached out to me, says, Scott, I understand what you're going through. She said that she's also battling homosexuality and that her roommate was her lover. And she confided in me, and I told her what her brother was doing to me. She says, Scott, my brother's been gay and struggling with homosexuality his whole life. And I said, I knew it. And that's when I'm like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And I turned 18, and I was like, I was done. And not one person from that church reached out to me to say, Scott, how are you doing? Not one person in that church says, Scott, we love you. We're thinking about you. Nobody from that church reached out to me. Nobody. So being made a spectacle. So here's a church that preaches love and religion and love and acceptance and healing. And they were basically just sucking the soul from me and basically contaminated my soul at that time. And so what I realized with the possession experiences is that the possession started happening when they were trying to cling to my soul. That's when the possession started happening. When they started clinging to my soul and try to change me, my soul was like, like, no, leave me alone, leave me alone. That's what my soul was really doing. And that's what I understood possession was for me, And so, so it was a major time in my life. And so, I dedicated my whole adolescent years into that religion and dedicated myself to where it's like, I heard a voice in my head saying, that does not mean what I represent. That does not mean what I represent. And so I said, I hear you. I said, these people are sick. These people are worrying about, I'm focusing on what I want to do in my life, how I want to help people, how I want to inspire people and create music. And I'm focused on success. And these people are waking up every day focused on who I'm sleeping with. Who's a perverts here, I'd say. And so after that, I took a huge break from religion and spirituality altogether. And of course, I was dealing with my psychic abilities. I was dealing with my religion. I was dealing with, not religion, I was dealing with my psychic mediumship abilities. I said, I don't want anything to do with any of this anymore. I'm tired of this. It's too much. It's too much for me. So that created a lot of massive anxiety within me. And so what do I know about the Christian church? That's what I know about the Christian church. And it's not just that one Christian church, it's all of them. And there's a couple modern day Christian churches that are a little different. They're open now to sexuality, and there should be no openness to sexuality, because sexuality is an anomaly in nature, like seedless grapes. I first wonder, I'm like, how can seedless grapes be organic? They said, well, there's an anomaly in nature where some grapes don't have seeds, and they take those seedless grapes and they replant those. There's anomalies in nature. That's what sexuality is. And many times when I was a minister in training, MIT, where I was studying the Bible, and I would bring up these contradictions, and they'd always shut me down. They don't want to discuss it, right? And so when I look at the religion and I see what it is now, and I see it's becoming more rampant because of the political divide, and that all of a sudden now these Christians believe that, Trump is anointed by Christ and God, and all this stuff, the anti-gay and all this crap, right? It's showing to me that Christianity has nothing to do with Christ. And when I left Christianity, I took Christ with me and left the church behind, because that is not what Christ teaches. Especially when I look at the religion in the Old Testament and how God would, preach to sacrifice the firstborn, kill the firstborn, give your daughters up for sex, diminish the wives. The wives should not speak, and they should be a slave. And slavery they taught in the Old Testament. But that's the Old Testament. Same God of the Old, same God of the New, same God. What's the difference? So when I started really looking at this book, I said, well, the book says it's men inspired by God that wrote it. Well, guess what? The man that did conversion therapy on me told me he said he was inspired by God to help me. So for me, when someone says they're inspired by God in that way, doesn't resonate with me, because men are not reliable. A God that sees life in a way that says that you are going to hell if you're sinful, if you love men, or if you love women, and because of sexuality, and we have all these rules and all this control and structure, and you'll go to hell if you don't worship me. Even people that don't know the word, they go to hell because they didn't say their prayer. What about the people that existed before Christ? What happened to them? Did they just go to hell because Christ didn't exist? So supposedly because of not following these rules and orders, you go to hell. And I said to myself, if I had children, would I want my children to worship me? Worship me. You didn't worship me, I'm sending you to burn for all eternity. Would I think like that? Would it all omnipresent, highly intellectual, infinite God, would that God be so concerned about these trivial physical shit that just happens naturally in nature? And we're supposed to believe that everything is Satan. This power of Satan is everywhere. Where's the power of God? Only through the Christian word? How powerful is this God that they say if Satan dominates everything? It's in the earth. That doesn't make sense to me. And, and I always keep saying to myself over and over again that, the God of this Christian Bible sounds like a very egotistical, narcissistic prick of a God. That you have 80 years of your life to determine where you're going to go for all eternity. Does that make sense? It kind of reminds me of Santa Claus. You're good, you get presents. You're bad, you get coal. You're good, you go to heaven. You're bad, you burn in hell. Like, it's this kind of very fear-based, controlling ideology. And I believe, based on studying the Bible, you can't trust man's interpretation of anything, by the way. Especially an interpretation of a Bible that's been rewritten so many times over and over again, so many different versions. That 1 Corinthians 6:9 said, do not be deceived, neither thieves, slanderers, drug addicts, and homosexuals will enter the kingdom of God. I'm just summarizing. And I said to myself, homosexuals, that's a newer term. That term kind of derived in the 1940s in a sense. It didn't say homosexual. So I said, let me see previous versions of the Bible. And so I found up old versions of the Bible, and I said to the church, and I said, well, see, this Bible here says it's that says sexual offender, not homosexual. I said, that's not the same thing. And they said, well, we interpret to make sense. I'm like, but homosexual and sexual offender is not the same terminology. Quite different. And so the terminology evolved from sexual offender to prostitute, then to male prostitute, homosexual offender, and now they blatantly use homosexual. And I would question about this interpretation, and they would shut it down. They didn't want to take any response, but they didn't want to dive deep into it, explain. Said, no, but that's the interpretation today. That's not love to me. God is a creative energy, and that creative energy is infinite. And what else do I know about Christianity? My grandfather was a pastor of a Christian church. He abused his children, and he abused my grandmother, and had an affair with my grandmother later on in their life. basically made her so she couldn't drive, she couldn't be self-dependent. That was a Christian pastor that I had as a grandfather. And I have other family members that are Christian judging me for the work that I do. Yet they're obese. They don't take care of their bodies. They're entrenched in, in hypocrisy. But yet I'm evil because I'm a psychic medium. And let's talk about this too for a moment before I get into the live readings. Christians say psychics are evil, yet they have prophets. Christians say that mediums are evil, yet they speak in tongues. La 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 dee da ba la la ba, and they speak in tongues, and then someone else has to interpret this demonic sounding voice that comes through them. But the mediums were evil. And also, spirits appeared to them in the Bible. What do you think you had to be for spirits to appear to you? A medium, right? They say yoga and breath work and meditation is evil, right? Yet they have faith healers that lay hands on people and they fall slain in the spirit unconscious. Does that make any sense? So who's the one that gets to determine that is God, this is Satan? Who determines that? Because I would believe it's on the intention of the person. Because I know when I'm helping people, I'm channeling spirit, it's coming from a good place, coming from a very loving place. Love and hate can't exist in the same space here. Okay? So if we're channeling spirit and spirit's helping to heal, that is not of Satan, but it's because the format isn't Christian. Right? So it's hypocrisy, and what I see that gets birthed from this Christian religion, based on my experiences, being deep in it, a lot of adulterers in the church, a lot of other homosexuals in the church, a lot of pedophiles in the church, they all habitate there. They all huddle there, a lot of them. Not all. There's a lot of true-hearted people in there, so I don't want to say all people, but this is a collective, right? The majority of this. And so if this religion was pure love, people would be healing from it. If this religion was pure love, it wouldn't be segregational. It wouldn't be segregating people, right? Because the power of Christ would be working through it, that everybody would just be connected. And I would believe as a creator that the continuation of evolution of the human species would be beautiful. The fact things do change, these things take a detour and evolve and become different. That's the beauty of creation. The limiting of creation, the segregation of creation is not beautiful. And like I always say before, negative energy is separating and disconnecting. That's negative energy. Positive energy is continuing to evolve, expand. It's just a technical term. Ever evolving, ever changing. That's positive energy. Christians don't exhibit that at all. Okay? And today they want to keep all the fundamental laws intact. And so at this point, Christian has been used as a weapon to hate, to segregate. And when they just say to you, you're going to hell because God says so, they think that's also that has power. I start saying, what God are you talking about? My God doesn't say, that's not my God. And then they look at you. And so I think it's time for us in the spiritual communities, because I'm saying this because that you're going to be attacked. A lot of Christians will start attacking as the spiritual community becomes more prevalent and more mainstream. These Christians are going to start attacking it. So we need to be equipped on the hypocrisy and the stupid nonsense of this limited aspect and version of God, which is, of course, Christ does not resonate with the religion itself. And I'd rather go to the source itself spiritually than just get some man's interpretation of one book and say, this is the truth. This is the blueprint of life. Now, am I saying that there isn't any great things to learn and to pull from the Christian Bible? There's a lot of great things to pull from if you look at it for what it is and what it's created for. Right? And if you read the Bible, there's some wonderful messages, wonderful positive aspects and blueprints of humanity and human nature. If you look at it for what it is, metaphoric. Especially with the Adam and Eve story. Do I believe those Adam and Eve and they failed and eat the apple and all that stuff? No, it's metaphoric. This is one thing I even said in the Christian church. No, it's not literal. It's like we came. There's a duality. God gave birth to duality, the divine masculine and divine feminine. And in spirit, we wanted knowledge, so we decided to incarnate to gain knowledge. That's what the apple represents. Not we sin and fall short of the glory of God because we're so, stupid and evil. No, we just have to stop condemning ourselves. And even in our spiritual communities, we are giving power to spiritual guides. We're giving power to all these other entities but ourselves. We're forgetting that we're the power of Christ. We are the power. Even our spiritual communities are giving power to law of attraction, power to manifestation, power to this guy, this guy, this one, that one. It's like, what about us? Where do we stand in the mix? Everyone else is trying to work our lives. Spirit's trying to work. Yeah, we have assistants and brothers and sisters in spirit. But where the fuck is our own power? We got it. And everything is trying to detract you from that. And when you start understanding that aspect, you don't need to worry about all these other different deities. You'll have inspiration and understand the connectivity of the spiritual beings and the family that we have in spiritual. But we are that power. We are that power. And that is everything these religions and ideologies are trying to take out from you. Because let me ask you this, like I said in the beginning of the collective read, if you weren't so powerful, why are there so many entities that try to cling to you? If you weren't so powerful, why is there so much energy that's trying to come at you? If you weren't so powerful, why is there so much extra turmoil in your lives when you're not living your truth? The equal negativity you experience in your life, the equal hardships and the heavy energy you experience in your life is a reflection of how powerful you really are. Because there's a duality. Where are you living in that duality? If you're living in your light, that power is going to be powerful. If you're not living your light, look how dark and powerful your negative circumstances are, guys. When you're in negative circumstances, it's rough, isn't it? Isn't it rough when you're in your negative circumstances? It's the same power within you in the negative aspect of self. Same power. It's still you. You're split. So if you can be that powerful in the negative, these negative circumstances can be so powerful, there's a duality to that. You can shine in that same power and have more of a progressive energy, more of expansive energy. The Christian religion doesn't want you to think that. The Christian religion wants you to condemn yourself. You're not worthy and worship. I'm not worthy. I have to worship an entity, a deity. I'd worship. And the real and Jesus is not, Yeshua is the name, not Christ, not Jesus. Jesus is Latin. Jesus is a Latin name. Yeshua is the name of Christ, what we call. Why so many names? Yeshua is who you want to be talking about. Jesus is Latin. Why a Latin name? Where did that come from? Right? Let's just think about that simplistically. So I wanted to get into to plant a seed on this topic, because anything where you feel condemned is not from God, is not from the light. Condemnation is actually of the separation. It's of an evil energy. Because Christ would not want you, the God that we talk about, should not want you to feel bad. Should want you to look up and to evolve. And wouldn't judge you and have such a limitation on how you're supposed to live a physical life. We're here to learn. We're here to evolve. That's why, and I would say, before I move on, I'm going to finish with this. If the God of the Bible that we talk about, this Christian God, is so powerful, why does he only choose to work sometimes? Right? Like, okay, God wants this evil to not exist, so therefore, sometimes he'll save an innocent child, but most of the time, these children are just going to be abused, and God's just going to turn a blind eye. Oh, but he's just. Yet they pray so much about their healing of their health that they created, and they believe their God is going to heal them of their stupid illness that they created from their own obesity, per se. Stupid mindset. But then God is going to heal you, but not save all these innocent children being molested and abused and trafficked. No. It's his just timing. But then his timing is to heal you of your stupid negligence and gluttony? Does this make sense? That's a Christian mindset. So that's not a very powerful God then, huh? He wants to eradicate all this evil, but we have to kind of just figure it out. And if we don't, we're going to burn for all eternity. That's really, really wise. It's very intelligent, isn't it? Right? So that's because God doesn't see things that way. That's because God understands the vast nature of human existence. Everything in human reality, in this physical reality, is a result of human behavior. And we're trying to heal our karma, change our karma so we can evolve. It's a school, so we can evolve our soul. Not say, wipe me clean of my sins, dear God. I just murdered someone. I said a prayer. Now I go to heaven. It's not like that shit. There's no evolution there. That karma will come back. It's a very dangerous cycle with that Christian ideology. It's dangerous for your soul progression because it means there's no accountability for what you've done. Just say a prayer. That's it. You're wiped clean. It's awful. It's evil. We have to evolve. And that is the point why we're here. We chose to have knowledge so we can grow our soul to become what? More like the God energy. And to realize more of that God energy, how we can expand. That's why we're here. Not to pretend that we're in this little bubble. We have to form out the world in the way this God thinks we have to form out this world and to wipe sins clean and just not do anything again. That's true evil to me. You're here to learn. You're here to grow. Every experience, good or bad, is part of your story. And you've done some shitty stuff in your past lives too. We all have. But we're evolving from that to realize I want more truth. I want more love. I want more power. I want more empowerment. That's what God's all about. And the God energy, our creator, is helping us along that way in that journey if you allow it to come. I believe my creator has saved me from taking my life because of the power that I had at that time. You know, so that's I don't want to go too much on that because I have some readings to do, but I just wanted to bring that into people's attention and start getting that into people's consciousness that we have to start standing up against this ideology that's a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. I spent a decade in it. I have families in it, and it's a bunch of bullshit. The interpretation of it is bullshit. And so I'm not saying to not read reading the literature is great. You can learn from a lot of different literature. There's a lot of truth in a lot of things. And to me, when there's truth wrapped in lies, that's the true evil. Let's get to these readings. Start that laundry, Michelle. All right, let's get into the readings now. Let's see who's got first here. Another thing. If you're a spiritual being, why would God prevent you from tapping to spirit of your loved ones passed on? Why? Why? You're a spirit merges on, but it's forbidden. Don't talk to them. Why? Just think about that. Okay. Chelsea Manica. For not can't attend, but I'll watch recording when I can. I took my board exam and as planned, and 7-6. Awaiting the results for next few weeks. Now the work is done. You see me still pass. Yes, Chelsea. It feels like you passed. It does. I get like a BC. It could be B or C energy, but you passed. That's a good one. And so I'll probably send you a message on this, Chelsea. Now. This way you don't have to watch the live. So let me just send this message here as I take a breather from the conversation. I mean, I can go on about it, but I want to keep it simple and kind of more surface on it. But okay, who's next? Woo, it's hot up in here. Do you guys see me sweating? I'm like freaking greasy right now. Very greasy. Okay. Yeah, Daryl, you just missed the whole topic. You came in right when the topic was over, so you missed the whole thing. I went along too. Went on for a while. All right, Noel Way, card pull. You still here, Noel? Did you stay awake for this? Oh my God, Noel, you did it again. You just made me drop half the deck. Noelle, you happy now? It's all on the floor. So every time Noelle asks for a card pull, she puts some energy out to fuck with my deck, and like flawless, the whole thing, the half of the deck crashed on the floor. Un momento. I hope you're laughing, Noelle. Ay. All right, well, you're having your 10 of Pentacles moment. We'll just put there. Yeah, we talked about it today too. We talked this morning, and you know, I said she always does that, and she's like, "Well, I don't know if I have the energy to do it. I have to focus on it." Well, it worked. Okay. Yeah, she's awesome. She's got the power. Trust, yeah, exactly, Clara. I mean, it took me so many years to say that. I had so many years where I was afraid to say that because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell. But I had been processing and working and connecting with spirit so long to be able to purge. You know, it's called, you know, religious trauma syndrome. Like, you know, people have a lot of trauma from religion and from cult trauma and so forth. And I went through that. So it took me a while to say that. And so it's freeing to say that because I know what it is now. It took me so many decades to purge it. And I don't say that because of a couple of days. It took me decades of my life to clear and purge so I can be able to say it's bullshit. That's so much, you know, guilt that carried from that, so much fear that I had to purge from that. And it wasn't until it helped me with my work to see so much, see the healing aspect to my own work that I'm like, yeah, that convinced me more, actually, you know? So... Princess of Pentacles. Yeah, it's, you know, just kind of saying no about, you know, you get like a lot of financial cards here. You know, Princess of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. So there might be a job opportunity or investment coming your way. So it seems like it's just good news about investments and money. You know, so that's a good thing. So maybe you've had 3 decisions that you had to, you know, overturn or make space for. So and perhaps the one that you focus on will bring in more financial resource. So yeah, they're saying, you know, there's gonna be some financial resources on the way. And it could be investments, it could be, random monies coming in, or just even a bonus, something of that nature, where I feel like you'll be more financially focused in that way. So I feel that coming too, which is awesome. So handle that financial aspects. Yeah. My dad. I love my dad here. Yeah. Yeah, you're free now, my son. And let me tell you something, guys. Getting out of that religion is hard for a lot of other people. I know a lot of people where the religion's created suicide, caused a lot of people to commit suicide and take their lives, who actually went through with it. I went through the ideation of it, but I know a lot of people who were not strong enough to deal with the ideation. And, and it's consistent. It's a consistent thing. Because of the ideology. Now, it's to say, like, oh, well, someone commits suicide and ate at a restaurant, doesn't mean the restaurant's at fault for the suicide. No, but if the ideology is what's created the ideation, and then, of course, the person creating the ideation is actually responsible for that. So, if the church has created a belief structure or ideology that makes someone and puts someone in contempt, and that creates the ideation, well, then, yeah, they're responsible for it. They're the cause. I'm not saying someone's responsible for the cause. They're the cause of it. So, this is for Kristen Villeroy. Kristen. You guys see what I'm saying on that? You guys, anybody else had any type of that's nice of you. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Well, I had a family member that posted about psychics being evil. So, like, great question. Before I get to Kristen Villo's card pull, as I'm shuffling, I had a family member post to me, saying that psychics are evil, yoga's evil, breathwork is evil. I mean, the most stupidest things I've ever heard. Breathwork is evil. Meditation's evil now. Isn't prayer meditation? It's just the stupidest stuff, right? And so I saw that, and I've heard previously from a cousin of mine who's really cool with me, and another cousin of mine is really anti-gay now. And so I'm like boiling, because I have been so compassionate to why they hate me, in a sense, like why they have problems with that. I'm like, I understand why it's your religion, and so loving that they despise me and what I do, right? And loving, I understand I'm loving, but I'm saying to myself, why do I have to be? So now it's like I'm going to be even more vocal about this, because I'm like, I don't want to talk about these things because I have certain family members that I don't want to offend them. Who cares? At this point, it's how I feel. It's what I feel like needs to be said, and I'm done being offended myself. So I'm starting to stand up against this nonsense, especially because this whole political crap, it's becoming even more extreme with this dumb religion, right? And I'm just over the divide. I'm over the segregation. I'm over the nonsense of weaponizing God. And then people have to shut up just because they say you're going to hell. And then people just don't know what to say to that. It needs to end. And I think there needs to be a movement exposing Christianity actually now, and exposing these religions. And people have been, there's a few YouTubers that are doing that now. And they're strong and very brave to do that. And it's good. And I'm going to be one of them to join on that bandwagon, because a lot of people are exposing it and looking at the truths of it, or not necessarily had the trauma with it. I've had the trauma with it. And so I don't care about the family members that's been offending me for so long. I don't care if they're offended. And I think that's taking a step back. We have to understand about love. Is it loving to love someone and to condone someone's behavior of hate? Is that loving? No. What's loving is I'm standing up against it to preserve the essence of love, period. Right? So, no. Okay. This is for Kristen Villeroy. They're saying right now, Kristen, you need to be loyal to your creativity. Okay? Whatever creative aspects that you should be doing, you need to be loyal to right now. Get rid of that relationship that's bringing, and it doesn't have to be romantic. There's a relationship that's kind of distracting you from the creative aspects that you need to be taking control of right now, and that you probably are juggling all these other ideas around that's kind of getting in the way. So not the sense, and maybe it's not so harsh as effective to get rid of this relationship. It could be as saying, stop allowing this relationship to be a distraction to your creative aspects. And they're saying that dive deep into that and even use your experiences to fully focus on that right now. Because it feels new to me. It feels like you're maybe just starting to get into this creative endeavor. And so it requires this focus. That's what they're saying. And they're saying you have a story to write about your father or something. There's a story about your dad that you need to be writing about too, or could be using to write, or something with the dad energy, and it could be general about the relationships. Don't let people get in the way, period. It could be just something like that too. Don't let relationships get in the way, period, of your creative endeavors. That maybe you're juggling too many people, and this is in the reverse position, because this means you have all the resources. This means you're juggling them too much. So get back into the creative aspects. Okay, yeah, there you go. Get back into that, because you're gonna pull out so much by doing that, creative aspects. So much by doing that. And do not juggle to where other things pull you away from it. Okay? Don't. Yeah, because that's what this is here. If you can see the Knight of Cups, it's just the green screen is making it weird. But this, to me, is like you're juggling people, because the Knight of Cups is like charming, alluring energy. So like my interpretation is that, you're kind of juggling in a negative fashion other people's emotions. They might be charming and alluring to you, but they need not be. And you need to write about a story about your dad or something like that, they're saying. Like the father figure in your life you need to be writing about. Pulling from that, inspiration of whatever dynamic you had with your dad for some reason. And I won't get into that deep on this live here, especially just a card pull, but I'll just throw it out there, let you process that. But that's what your focus should be right now. Kathleen Prentice, random card pull for Kate, and crazy code, whatever Spirit wants you to know. I don't like those, whatever Spirit wants me to know questions. Crazy for Coco. Yeah, let me just say, don't ask me what Spirit wants you to know, but I'll just pick up on a random, right? But I guess it's good, because it's like, I don't have a question, but let's just see what randomly comes. That's cool too. But I don't like the terminology, because maybe I like to being too philosophical about this question, because I know the structure. Let me say, what am I not hearing myself, or what am I maybe my inner self wants to tell me, right? Those are good ones too. So, but I guess Spirit's good too. I'm overly critiquing. I'm sorry. It's just because I understand the structure, and I want you guys to understand the structure too. So I apologize. My love, it's not your problem to fix other people's problems, and other people's problems, again, are not your problem. I know it sounds very simple and cliche, but it ain't. It ain't your fucking problem. Right now, if you have problems that you're encumbered with, and you have to, it's like, what if you just moved into a new home and you have to, unpack your home? Would you say, oh, I'm going to stop packing my home and help my friend unpack their home instead? Are you going to do that? Like, no, like, let me unpack my home, get myself situated before I can help somebody else. Like, you have to put yourself first and make it important. These people, no matter how alluring they can be with you, it's not worth it. Let them have their own mindset to figure it out, right? And so this is why, and let me say this to you guys too, and this might be what you have to, Crazy for Coconuts, this is for you. This is your message, Crazy for Coconuts, is that a lot of people cheat themselves and deprive themselves of their success because of other people. How much more successful and of an inspiration could you be in your life if you were not spending so much time on other people's bullshit? Because a lot of people have just bullshit. I'm whining, complaining. You didn't call me, and I don't know. It's just bothering me. And what do I do? And I'm stuck at my job. I hate my boss. Bullshit energy. All the time you spend hearing people, I'm so upset. I don't know what to do. He's not calling me, and my boss is such an asshole. I hate my job. All the energy you're spending on people, that energy is taking time away from your success and taking time away from you being inspired. Of course, that's going to deplete you of inspiration, because what source do you have right now if it's depleted on that nonsense? Complacency, and people who are complacent in your life. Judgmental people who just want to talk about, and I always say they're finger fucking their screen, finger fucking Instagram. That's what I call it. They're finger fucking the screen all the time, and just talking about, look at this person, look at this person here. Oh, I'm watching this video. What type of productivity is that time? So if you're appeasing people like that in your life, none of that creative energy you have is going to something productive that can help inspire people like that, right? So I look at people like that. I don't try to fix their problems. I try to be inspiration to help them be inspired to get out of their fucking problems, to realize they have a problem to begin with. You know what I mean? So, yes. And that's for you, Crazy for Coconuts. You have to stop being so, this is going into Kathleen, Crazy Coconuts. Stop absorbing, making other people's lives your own life. Okay? And I say this with love and passion, not to scold anybody. But it's passionate for me. And I feel like a lot of guys need a strong voice in these situations. Stop worrying about everybody else's life and stop making everybody else's life your life. Make your life and stand up for your own life and your being and guide yourself to where you want to be and let people find themselves. If you're telling people 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times and, but maybe they're just not getting it and so they're not going to get it, so why waste your time, right? Let's be so simple and rational about it. So Crazy for Coconuts, really put yourself in a position where people are not the focus of your life, that you are. You've paid your dues, my love, and I think you have to understand that you've paid your dues now. And you've been through a lot of loss in your life, and now it's time to start, putting what you've lost, because there's a lot of holes, figuratively speaking, in your heart that showing up for other people somehow fills it for you, but that's a false sense of fulfillment. The expression of yourself is going to fill the holes. See, a lot of people try to fill the holes by pushing something in the holes. You know how you fill the holes? By coming outward with it. Right? You come from that energy without, and you heal those holes through the projection of your soul and your being. Don't people try to stuff things in the hole to fill the holes. The relationship, this new car, this house, this money, this addiction, this here, I'm filling these holes. It's like, they're going to fall out and they're not going to be very reliable to keep the holes stuck. You come from within to fill the holes and you express your soul outwardly. It's going to fill and it's going to stay completely reborn. So come from within to fill those holes. Stop bringing it from without. Okay? And so here's a random card pull from Kathleen. Yeah, and I think that, again, I was saying before, how much longer? How much further ahead would you guys be in your life if you didn't allow people to suck your energy because they know you're empathetic? How much further in your life and how much more productive, wealthy would you be in your life if you put the value back into yourself and didn't let these people just keep you as a pacifier? A lot of these people are just using to pacify themselves. And you're around to pacify. Here's a pacifier. Sometimes walking away from them will get them to realize, oh my God, what did I do to lose this relationship? Okay. That's right, Cyrus. As within, so without. And as you come from within, so without, you don't need, you'll be fine without the things outside of there. Like, I'm fine without those things out there. So you can look at it in different terminologies, as within, so without, but then you start realizing, I'm fine without those things. I don't need those things. Those things come in because they just have to, because it's a reflection of my energy. The wealth just has to come in because I'm creating value for people. The love has to come in because I'm just loving my life. This is for Kathleen. This is for Kate card pull. I'm still shuffling because she's still tense. And this is funny because Kate has to focus on the same thing. She has to stop looking at what are her options right now when it comes to relationships. She's got to stop saying, okay, well, this relationship didn't work out, so what about this relationship? Or what about this relationship? Or what about this person? Stop that. Because she's got to start planting the seeds for the future and start nurturing the seeds of the future by being alone. It's time to be alone, Kate. It's time to be in isolation mode. And if you're not happy being alone, then who the hell's going to be happy being alone with you? Right? And I'm going to say this again, because that's another piece of gold there. If you're not happy being alone with yourself, somebody else ain't going to be happy being alone with you either. So you better stop fluff tonight. You better be comfortable and enjoy being with yourself. You should make that your mission, because when you do, then you start planting seeds of the future. You start creating and realizing traits of yourself that is actually lovable. If you're trying to have someone else in your life to make you feel good and feel loved, you ain't bringing anything to the table. You'll be disposable to them. Let's call that out for what it is. If you need a relationship to feel whole, you just will be disposable because they will just use you for the attention that you're giving them. They won't value you. And because you have no idea what your value is, you can continue that cycle of who's next, who's next, who's next. What should I do this relationship? Oh, he's available. Should I go there too? No. Because once you spend time with yourself, start building the traits that's lovable, or making the realization of what's lovable about you, you'll protect it. You'll protect it. And you won't let anybody trample on it. And you'll have a better picker. A lot of you guys have bad pickers, but you'll have a better picker on who's the best energy for you. Right? I mean, gosh, and everything I'm talking about, I used to have a bad picker. I used to hop around a lot in my 20s. So everything I'm saying, guys, I used to be too. So just to kind of humble this a little bit, I used to be this way too. Everything I spoke about, I used to be, or I've done it in my lifetime. So otherwise, if I didn't, who am I to talk about it? I like to talk from experience. So understand where I'm coming from. I have experience in these things. I used to be this way. But when I understand how to kind of isolate and be in my own energy, just focus on what I want to engage in my life, ooh, confidence, strength, passion, all this stuff came out of me. So that's what Kate needs to be focusing on right now. It's not about her next option of relationship. Erica Emory, my love, you have to book us. I have to turn my air down. What is it in here? How did I go to 80? Why did I go to rush hour? That's odd. No wonder I'm sweating bullets in here. Energy demand is high. If you change the temperature now, you'll stop participating in the rush hour. Have you guys ever seen that on your energy? Like my Nest is like, it says like it just went to 80 because it's like it says rush hour right now. I'd never seen that happen, and so it's like I'm trying to change it. Now I have to like say change temp to go to fucking. When did that happen? You guys ever see that in your Nest? I'm like sweating here. I'm thinking because I like it on 72 is where I like it. 72, sometimes 74. But okay, Erica. I'm headed to Canada this weekend for that 5-day retreat near the Lake and Woods. What might I be looking forward to, where I keep in mind, etc. for this trip? I told you before, my love, I think you're going to have a breakdown to break through. It's still in process. Okay? It's still in process. God, I'm sweating here. It's still in process. And so I think this might be the time you do so. And I'm saying this that you're going to actually release. I felt it maybe too prematurely last time. I think you're going to release here. But you're also going to feel like connected with like the ether. You know? I feel like you're going to clear your vocal channel too. I think you're going to clear your vocal channel out. There might be some sort of thing that you do that clears your vocal channel out, or just experience itself will clear your vocal channel out too. I think you'll find a newer pitch or something within the vocal channel. So yeah, I think it's great. And I think that, you know, you'll still have that breakdown to break through. I think telling you that makes you resist it. Like, oh yeah, I can do it, Scott. It's like, part of you is kind of fearing it, but it's going to happen. If I didn't tell you last time, it probably would have happened last time too. But part of you is afraid of doing that. But the breakdown only means that you're releasing the energy so you can look at things clearly. It doesn't mean you have to make major change. It just means that you look at things clearly and you're being more in acceptance. So yeah, this is where I'm at. And I'm making changes. This is great. The breakdown is actually going to help you to be more light with everything. So I feel like you're going to open up a new channel. Or we might even channel something new in this trip. So yeah, it feels earthy that way. Of course, it's the wood, so I can just pull that out of my ass. Yes, but anyways. I'm going through Barrel. Question, new direction for life, and sharing guidance with other. New place to live. You are awesome. No video possible right now. Christina Kutsodas. I don't know if I understand the question. It says, still going through Barrel? I don't know if you can spell that. Question for new direction for life. And question sharing, guiding others. New place to live. I guess I'm maybe, can you do this for me, Christina Kutsodas? Can you just refine the question more in the chat for me? Because I'm confused on how it's laid out here. And so I want to be clear in the question, just to help me with time and stuff like that. So I have to spend time like trying to read it. So just help me be clear with the question. If you could put it in the chat for me, the question, and then I'll get to that. Because I want to make sure I answer the right thing. Oh, my mom says Hurricane Beryl in Texas. Okay. New direction for life and money sharing, guiding others. Yeah, I'm still not. Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, the hurricane, but just the questions. I don't understand. New direction for life. Just refine the question me better if you can. Okay, about like it just seems like a lot in there. Just say clearly for me. Okay. Because I'm confused on the question. New direction, like in which direction? And you put money signs. So refine it for me, por favor. And I just get to Sydney and I'll come back to you. Sydney, Aaron, love you too, baby. Do love you too. Did my mom try to contact me? What's her vibe these days? We are ill communication. Did your mom try to contact you today? I heard an attempt. I feel like she's trying to resolve something with you, Sydney. So I think she's trying to. So she'll have, and I feel like she's like reaching out and then like hesitation, reasoning out, hesitation. But I feel like Sydney that this will be a time where you might start seeing like her every now and then reaching out, and so and I feel like one could be an accidental, but that's like a Freudian slip, figuratively speaking. Like she accidentally tried to call or try to reach out, but then, so I just feel like a hesitation energy with this, but also at the same time trying to like, what's going on? How is everything? Because knowing you're closed to that in a certain degree, but trying to open that part up to you in a sense. So my advice would be just kind of be more open about that, resolution in a sense. And she's saying, understand that she's crazy, right? Understanding that, but understanding that healing and mending is always good, and if there's someone trying to attempt to do that at some point, be open to that in your own timing, of course. Okay, but yes, I feel like there was an attempt. I heard. Okay, back to Christina. I mean, it's fine. That's why I said in your timing, my love, just in your timing. So keep trying every now and again, but just in your timing. But understand that if it's very simple, right? Like if someone is trying to heal something, let them. Even if in their own stupid way, you're intuitive enough to look beyond it. Don't be so hell bent on how she has to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it still can take some more time from here, but don't be so hell bent on that. Okay. All right. Okay, Christina, teaching or creative work experiential. Okay, that makes more sense to me. So, Christina Katsoras. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a visual too, because I hate saying this because it always sounds cliche, right? But I really feel like, I just keep seeing you like working in retreats. Like helping people heal and helping people, like the breath work that's the Christians think they're so evil, the evil breath work. I feel like that, helping people with breathing, helping people with, even guided meditations and, sound, like just kind of connecting an experience for people. Cause I feel like with that creative aspects, like I can do the breath work, I can do the sound bathing, I can do this kind of mixture of things and creating my own experience. And so I feel like you need to create an experience for people. That's a creative aspects, right? And so when it's a spiritual experience, you're kind of encompassing so many different elements to bring one unified experience to people of healing, right? And I mean, even now, healing sounds so cliche in the spiritual community, but what I mean healing is like allowing people to really feel their own essence, in a sense, to distinguish the bad parts of themselves that need to be rearranged, healed, purged, right? So, doing this kind of type of like, and I see it in a retreat setting, but it could be even individual setting where you bring these different elements of healing and creativity to people so they can really feel their essence in that sense. And so they can really distinguish their individual path. Helping people with this. And I also feel like creative visual arts too, like, they keep showing you doing things, and I mean, I always say channeled writing, but I feel like even channeled artwork and channeled, I just think you really need to be on a different beat right now. I really like Aquarius energy. I'm Aquarius. Like really diving in. And I think for you, like a message for you is saying like, well, then how can I make money at that? A lot of people like have that question, Christina, like, well, yeah, I would love to do this thing, but how can that be profitable? I'm just saying to you, I don't usually like to talk about my own finances, but I've been able to pull in 6 figures in a year based on doing what I'm doing. Had a lot of rough patches, by the way, a lot of different things along the way, but I reached that point where I can make 6 figures doing what I do, and I would never thought when I was a composer, making money being a composer for TV and film, making great money, about 16 to 20 grand a month on top of royalty checks. Right, I was making great money. But it was seasonal. And so I never thought like, how could a psychic make that much money? It never would have dawned on me. And then here I am, right? 20 years later, after thinking that way. There are ways where you can be very financially abundant doing what you're doing. And so I think that if you help people in that way and guide people into finding their individuality and bring a whole like a creative experience to them, that's how I feel like you should be doing, looking at these things. And I think the issue you might be having is you're trying to narrow it down to one when you're not supposed to. You might have a practice where you do 3 or 4 things that bring this experience for people. Stop trying to fragment it. Okay, so that's what they're saying right now, and you're also getting the Hermit card too. So that was just kind of random sitting there, and so you got to spend more time with yourself to envelop this. Get yourself like a drum thing, one of those drum sound things, because remember these things sound cliche and traditional, and typical, but they work. I mean, we're in reality. We've seen it all, done it all. Doesn't mean because you've seen it all and done it all that they don't work. So. That's what they're saying, and start planting those seeds with that. So they're showing again like sound bathing, a visual creative visually, and helping people with guided meditation understand where they can find their individuality. That could be your brand, in a sense, and keep branding that. So I mean, I'm kind of like advising, but I'm also seeing that too. And so you just might be in the position where you're trying to figure out how to make that happen. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm sensing with that. All right. Okay. All right, Michelle. Don't take too long. Don't get lost on the way to the fire. What do you think? Anything from that, Christina? Like anything additional with that I was saying that maybe comes to mind? Because I know you paid for a video, but you can't do video. But anything else that comes to mind with that? Just throw it in the chat, and I'll answer that back too. You know what I mean? Good. Awesome. So remember, you're putting all these pieces together to make one experience, Christina, okay? I think she might be behind a little bit because I'm like, she responds to the drum thing. But yeah, I'm glad to see that you're doing that. So yeah. Oh, I love your picture too. I don't see your picture on the PayPal. I see it here. So that's a great picture, actually. I love that picture. That's kind of funny. I was seeing that flowy energy with you, and your picture kind of resonates with that too. Okay, next up, AC Chico. 2 questions. What should I post about to connect with others on social media? My art, running, something else. What platform should I use that would be successful and keep my interest? Let me see a good platform. Good. That's good. So you're in process, Christina. That's good. Okay, AC. No, I mean it's simple. It's simple, AC. It should be your art and creative expression. Like it's just you don't need to over encumber yourself with that. I forgot who I was talking to about this too, and they had an art thing and visuals and so forth. And just think how different. I mean, the platform doesn't matter to me. It could be that your typical platforms like TikTok. I would say do as much as you can. Just like repost on all of them. I wouldn't just pick one. But I recommend this for somebody else too. But like, film yourself actually drawing something, and then do like time lapse, or do like where it's sped up, and then you can maybe talk over this. Spirit had recommended me to do this to somebody else with their art. Imagine that you start drawing something, and maybe your art, you're creating something that's inspirational. And there's a theme behind it, and you're painting, and you're videotaping yourself doing this, and then you can speed it up in fast motion, and you can narrate on top of that art something, inspiration with the stories that you're telling through the art piece, and that would be your video. Just think how interesting that would be. You're showing your art, you're seeing yourself doing it, and you have full speed, and you're narrating this like very inspirational story through it. And this way they can see what your story is through the art piece. And of course, you're leaving the story open so then people can make their own interpretations too. So, a little suggestion, because sometimes we need little suggestions in life too. Sometimes then every step is written in the stars. But that's kind of how I see you doing that. I've seen a few, so I don't know how common they are, but I think that if you could put your own spin on that. So Sophie's like, she's seen a lot of those videos. So yeah, I'm not sure how common they are. It's just kind of something I've seen, maybe once or twice, but not where they're like narrating in a sense. But if they're out there, then maybe add more to that table, AC. Bring more to that, especially when you have like a unique perspective on things. So. Okay, Jai says, "Hi Scott, I'm going on a date tomorrow. Would like to know if this could lead to something serious. I'm pretty into her. Also, financially question. Recently made some big changes to my strategy. How do you see things moving forward with my new positioning?" Well, Jai, enjoy the dynamic. I don't like when people ask me, how's my date going to go? Because then if you knew, then you wouldn't enjoy it. So we're going to bypass that question and say, enjoy the date for what it is and allow yourself to go without knowing that. Okay? So if you're into her, then let yourself be observant of the situation without knowing how it's going to pan out. So these are situations that if I have to avoid someone from going on a date, I might say, or if someone really has to know, wants to ruin their experience, then yes. But in this case, being that you're not in front of me, I'm not going to ruin your experience. My advice would be is to go on it and experience the mysteriousness of that and allow yourself to learn, to observe, and to gauge with it. Okay, and really hear what you're saying. Don't be in a position where because she's showing up that you have to like give all in. Like sit back and like try to feel out the dynamic. What are you feeling from her? You might say she likes me, but I don't like her. You might say that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying let yourself like be objective and take a step back and see what you're feeling with it, and don't just like hop on in with it just because there's someone that's available, right? So I just want to give you that type of advice because I do not want to tell you how it's going to go. It's going to ruin your experience. That's petty. But that's the advice I want to give you on that. Your financial situation is always good. I think your strategy and the choices that you're making moving forward is always going to render you very success. You've asked this, I think you didn't ask this question before in the past, but I remember reading this for you about finances, that you always seem to be on top of your finances and in the financial world. And I maybe predicted, whenever a few times ago that I've read you about seeing great investments in your future and having great financial investments and financial future secured. So you're in the process of learning with all that. So it's all great. I think you're in that great direction. And you're going to keep evolving your strategy. So that's good. So to me, it reads really well. You're learning right now from the curve of all what you're doing and what you're changing. So your financial future always read well for me. I've always tried to give you more insight into making sure you're just not accepting any person around you for a relationship, that you're actually digging for what you want right now. And you're allowing yourself to experience that and not looking for like, I got the relationship. And because you don't want to, at the end, be a conditional relationship. Because especially when you become very financially successfully, then you might have women that just want to be around you because you're financially successful, and you'll have a conditional relationship. Really dive deep into the energy of the women that you're looking for, and see how they're matching what you're wanting. You should be shopping and interviewing yourself, not like, oh my God, I have an interest, so let's go with this. Let me try to make it work. No. Don't just change your mentality on that, because you will be the one that will be in a position where women are just going to want to be around you because you're financially stable and financially, abundant or wealthy. And so you want to make sure you're not going to be attracting that, just going with it just because people want to be around you because you're financially successful. So You need more advice on those questions, not so much predictive energy, but I think you're on the right track, a great track. What you're finding, always felt that. And whatever you're experiencing in between, it's like it's always leading to your financial future of success. Okay. Katrina Sanders. Will my ex get this current girlfriend pregnant? Katrina, what kind of question is this? I'm gonna have to. It's okay. It's okay. You're in the process, Jai. So that's why I'm trying to be a cheerleader for you, right? Because even though we're going through stuff and we're working at stuff, we still need someone motivating us, mentoring us, right? I think a lot of times, if you had a great mentor with you, next to you, that helps. You always need reassurance to keep you going. And so I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I really feel this intuitively. So I don't mind being a constant reassurance for you and a motivation. Yes, you're just keep going. You're expanding, you're learning, you're changing strategies. This is the whole point of it. So you just need the reassurance, and that's quite all right. We all do. We all need that motivation. We all need something that is going to reflect back to us what we're doing. So no, I totally don't mind that. And redundancy, I would say it's redundancy. You just need more consistency with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so if you can find a mentor that's with you all the time too, that can help you with the finances and guide you and understand what you're doing is correct and learning more. There's always a learning curve. I'm always learning at the craft that I'm doing, and I love it. I never stop learning. I feel like I learn and I get to a point where I feel stupid again. I got to learn more. Then I feel great and I feel stupid again and learn more. So I'm in a position, I'm diving into newer things to learn and to expand upon. So that's an awesome cycle to be in. And so continuous motivation is necessary. And so I'm here to do so. And of course, my intuition can validate it for you. So, and the cards even, I think, validated it to you before. So don't feel bad about having to just check in. I get people have to check in all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. But just take my advice on the date situation, okay? I'm looking out for you by not telling you how it's going to go. I want to give you the heads up so you can experience what you need and be more objective, that people aren't going to be just going out to you because you're wealthy in the future. You want a wife that's going to be there for you, period. I want you to start seeking that out in your and looking in these relationships, seeking out a person that matches that essence. Okay, Katrina Sanders. Will my ex get his girlfriend pregnant? I don't know why that matters to you. That's a very, very weird thing to want to know. You're obviously. I'll give the answer, but I have to scold you first on this question because it's really coming from a place of a deflated ego right now, my love. Why does it matter if your ex gets that girlfriend pregnant? If he does, then that's not you. Thank God. And if he doesn't, then what did that do for you? Does it make you feel better that you're not experiencing the life that someone else is not experiencing the life that you were supposed to have with this ex? Because if you're supposed to have that experience with that ex, you'd be there, not this other person. You're not there for a reason. You got to start reminding yourself why you're not there for a reason. This actually is not written in the stars, so I can't say yes or no because it's not determined right now, and it's not actually in the stars that he will or not. What I do feel is carelessness. I feel carelessness on that side. I feel like that it's possible there might be an accidental slip on this. So I don't feel like it's actually being projected, but I feel like there might be carelessness. But it's not written in the stars whether they will or not. So I can't say yes or no either way. But it's possible because of the careless energy. Like, oops. And she might be pushing for that. And do something to make that happen. So I feel like that she might be trying to get pregnant and wanting to. So there might be something that may happen, but I can't say for sure because it's not written in the stars. I'm really concerned about the question, to be honest with you. I'm concerned of the mindset that you're in that must be burdening you to want to put emphasis into paying for a question like this, because that means that you actually are still being controlled and manipulated by this person. And that means that you're still caring about it to a certain degree. You might say, "Oh no, I don't. I'm just curious about it." I'm like, but why is there curiosity about that? You know what I mean? Like, it should be like, I don't give a fuck what he does. Like, I'm focusing on my life moving forward. But it's again, the curiosity means that you don't want somebody else to be living the life that you thought you should have been living to this person. And let me tell you something, you still wouldn't be happy if you got pregnant through him. You still wouldn't be happy with this person. Or you still would, if you were with this person, you still wouldn't be happy with this person. So that it really doesn't matter the happiness he creates for himself, because that doesn't match your level of happiness. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm really, it's hard for me to see a question like this and not call that out. because I'm not here to feed you with a prediction. And that's what another thing I want to be very clear and vocal about. You should not care about your predictions. You should care about if you're on the right track and what's going up here. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care about your fucking predictions. Let's be real about here. I give them, and I love seeing where you're going to help redirect you. But this situation here, I care more about how you're feeling right now, and I care more about what you're going through right now than the fucking prediction here. So I want you to love yourself more and understand you're not in that situation. What happens in that past situation is irrelevant. And all because if he were to make someone else pregnant, that doesn't mean that somehow that you're now suffering. You're depriving yourself of life because this other person is pregnant with, and they're building a life together. You're depriving yourself of building a life with someone better for yourself. As simple as that is. And I said in the very beginning, Katrina, you don't live your life through somebody else. You don't live your life through, with somebody else's eyes, because you might be thinking that you're being deprived of what they're getting, but you're actually depriving yourself because you're still focusing on that. So the pain isn't coming from the fact that he might be getting pregnant or he's with another relationship. You're depriving yourself because you're still focused there. I'm still focused here. I'm not in that picture anymore, so it's gonna burn me if he gets her pregnant, and if he doesn't, well, there, I feel better because he didn't get her pregnant. So now how long is that gonna last? So I had to address that, because you might be saying on the forefront of your life, "Oh no, I don't feel that. No, I don't care. I'm just wondering." No one pays for a question about something so irrelevant, right? And I'm saying this in love, because that's going to be that mentality, that focus is what's depriving you of a good relationship. And you deserve better than that. You deserve way more than that. You deserve way better than that, my love. Way better than that. And I don't like seeing people. I get not angry, but I get frustrated. I see people doing this to themselves. And I can't not care. When I see that, I can't not care. When I see these certain questions, I can't not care. The little things I care about. The little things I care about when I see these things. Okay, Jill O'Brien. We have two more. Jill O'Brien says, "My ex of 42 years ago has tried to make contact. Why? No reason. No significant reason, Jill. I feel that, they were just kind of thinking about things, reflecting on life, Okay. Yes, my love. Exactly. And so this girl in the picture is trying to get pull from him. So it's just bad. And so if she has a kid through him, thank God it wasn't you. Thank God it wasn't you. Period. And you should start seeing that too. Like, whoever is in that place, I feel bad for them. And I'm not saying this to make you feel better. He's really, he doesn't respect his relationships. I'm just going to be be simple about it. He doesn't respect his relationships, and I'm just going back to Katrina because she's chiming in now. Doesn't respect his relationships, and so they're conditional, and there's a very kind of narcissistic, douchey energy. It's the best I can say. I'm not trying to use a buzzword at the moment, but that's what I get from him. Conditional, be part of his shadow energy. You know what I mean? And if you're not a shadow, then if you see through him, forget about it. You're disposable. So, I mean, seriously, whatever he does should be completely irrelevant, off track, to where you're going to be and where you want to be. So, yeah, I don't like it. I hate you're degrading yourself by looking there, my love. You're degrading yourself by looking there. Remember this. You're degrading yourself by concerned about that. You don't realize how much, and I'm saying you're so much better intellectually than this. You're so much better intellectually than that. And that's why I'm just so baffled, right? Go in yourself, deep in yourself, and ask yourself this. Look at who you are for a minute. Remind yourself of who you are, right? Go back into that state right now. Say, I shouldn't be focusing there. What am I doing? Let me remind myself of me. Let me pick up the pieces that he broke off from me and put those pieces back on and say, wait a minute, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, back to Jill. Jill, there's no reason why your ex reached out to you. I feel like he was reflecting on the past, Jill. and just decided to kind of like check in. Hey, how's it going? Right. And so, and I think a lot of exes do this when when they're making change or when you're making change. I just like he wants to reflect a little bit on things, maybe even make an apology. So I feel like he's more reflecting right now in his life, and so it doesn't feel bad or heavy. He might say, hey, I just want to kind of address this, or maybe ask you questions like, was I ever this way? And how have you been? And so it just feels cavalier like that to me. So I always tend to believe that when people from the past start coming out of the surface, out of the woodworks, some person's making major change. Usually it's you are probably making changes in your life, and then this X is resurfacing to maybe have you kind of put something to rest too for yourself. So I would say that would be the spiritual reason for that, And the last but not least, and let me shut this down too. Wait, actually, sorry, let's put this down. Last, but definitely not least, Devin Kimball. Card pull, okay. All right, and I'm surprised. I made it pretty good on time, I have to say. It's before 8. Timing's good. And so let's see what it's have to say for Devin Kimball. Or Devin K. I don't want to put your first and last names on here. I will not put your first and last name on air if you do a read like this. I'll just say the first and last name, or excuse me, the first name only and the first initial, the last name. Be mindful of that. I'll keep the privacy as much as possible, unless you're in the chat. Okay. Oh, good, because you actually have a different last name on the chat. Okay, all right. It's all good in the hood. I'm sure people who are seeking out my videos to watch aren't going to be doing any nasty for people on here. Okay. Let me pull some oracles. Thank you, Daryl. That was sweet of you. I don't know if I've been more on point tonight, Daryl, as I've been more street tonight. I've been very hood, more street tonight. I've been kind of like, the big brother tonight. I haven't been overly philosophical, even with the Christian, topic. I was just being more down to earth, not so, here's all the detail that I'm a theologian. I just wanted to express rationale. I think a lot of my work now is just I'm trying to make things more sensible for people. Like sensibility, I feel like that's been my calling lately. So, did you just get out of a relationship or break a commitment somehow? I feel like an ending of a relationship or an ending of... But this is good. This ending of this relationship, it could be even work. I feel like an ending of an important relationship or an ending of a chapter that needed to happen, and it's great that it did, or you're celebrating because you released it. That's what I'm feeling, Devin. And so, if that hasn't happened yet, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The reason why I'm confused on whether it's a relationship or a circumstance, because sometimes a circumstance and a relationship go hand in hand. And those relationships could be, conditional ones and whatnot. And so I think that now you're starting to recognize, and this is more of an emotional read, you're starting to recognize how powerful and how more of an energy you possess now because of the ending of this dynamic or relationship or situationship or whatever it is that I'm reading on this. And so I'm feeling like this is a newer chapter for you in a good sense. And, and the energy is you kind of flip things on its side. I feel like you were just kind of fearful and very trepidatious, but now you're not. You had trust issues, but now you're kind of trusting more because you're tapping more into your own purity. So this is a very emotional read, a very spiritual read, not so much a conditional one or predictive one, but it's also kind of confirming that this change that you've made or the shift that you've made emotionally is really benefiting you. I feel like you're flying higher now, or you will be. Okay, if you're not now, then this is predictive. Okay. If you're on the verge of cutting that relationship off, that situation off, then understand it's going to be so great for you when you do this. It's going to open up so much for you. I mean, the Three of Cups is all about celebration in this, right? Star card in the middle, but like what's in the middle of this was, the Death card and fear. So it's like, you kind of coming out of that circumstance and starting to realize how much of a footing you do have in your own life now. So this is very emotional. This is a realization you're just making right now or about to make. And I think you're going to start feeling more of your own sensibility within your life moving forward. So I think you're probably an emotional person. Maybe this is why it's reading emotionally. And maybe you're more in tune with your emotions now, So it feels very, very internal. And I'm saying that, like, look up and you just wrote that. So it's funny. Right when I say that, the internal, and I see that pop up, I had to put that up there on the screen. So this is a new change. It's a new paradigm for you. It's a good energy. It's very spiritual, Devin, for me. You're going to see life in a very, and I mean, spirituality just means you're growing, but you're going to have a very mystical experience. You're going to start seeing the fabric of life and reality in sync. Almost like you're seeing life on mushrooms. Okay, so you made some breakthroughs, but you're going to have a very mystical experience moving forward in your life. Either you do get into psychedelics, I don't know, but it's almost like you'll be able to see life in that psychedelic way in a sense, and seeing beyond and seeing the fabric of life and reality. It's a really good change. It's a really good change. And I think your guides want to confirm this for you. Devin, I think your guide just wanted to confirm this for you. And so I would say that's great. I mean, I love that energy because this is you're deep, Devin. You're a deep person. Go in that depth. You're very deep. You see things differently than most people, right? And so, like, go with that. Like, embrace that. That's your strength. That's your power. You have a perspective many people don't have, and so go with that. That's your power. That's how you lead in life. And so, So your guide's giving you a massive hug right now because you need it, but they're celebrating this like shifting. So I'm getting the goosebumps on this now of how warm you are and how warm they're just like embracing you and celebrating you right now, Devin. So it's powerful. You got a very strong energy, girl. Watch out for Devin. This woman, she's what I would call the magician empress energy. And everyone tonight got the magician energy tonight actually, and the empress energy too. So great confirmation, and what a great way to end the readings too. By the way, thank you, Devin, for your patience, and the best was again save the best for last in a sense. But yeah, what a great way to end it. And guys, we all have the power too. I mean, I don't think that if all of us that are in the room that congregate, we all have a similar energy. Right. And those guys that support me and support each other, we all have the same essence in a sense. Right. And so what you see in me, what you see in those around, you possess the same qualities. That's why we're congregating together, and so that's important. So I always tell people when they say, "Oh, Scott, you're amazing." I'm like, well, you are, because how you couldn't be amazing or you could not be amazing and see amazing in somebody else. So what you see in somebody else, and you, like I say, what you react to, you relate to, that's both on the positive and negative aspects of things. So what you relate to in someone that's positive, react to, that's your energy too. That is your love. That's your amazingness. So I would say, please remember this. What you react to, you relate to. And so especially on the negative aspects of things, if you're reacting still to negativity, there's still something within, you're battling within yourself on that level. Okay? It's all great. I'm so appreciative to have every single one of you guys here tonight. It's been an interesting discussion. I'm trying to figure out new ways to spice up my lives. I might be wanting to bring a couple guests on. Maybe have a guest chat on. I'm trying to work with that as well to expand the dynamics. So if you guys have any suggestions of what we can do to spice things up, let me know. Any topics you want to hear me discuss or talk about, let me know too. I'd love to hear your feedback. You guys are the show too. You all are part of the show as well. So whatever you guys feel like would be great to add into the show, or any topics you want me to discuss, let me know. Because sometimes I run out of topics. I'm like, oh, I talked about so much already. It's 63 episodes. But we have every season, so Leo season's come up, so I'll be doing that soon. And so for those of you in the room who don't know, if you want a personal one-on-one reading with me, my website is in the description, scottcruzpm.com, for a one-on-one session. I do phone readings and Zoom sessions. And of course, it's more intimate, and we get more into depth on things in a one-on-one session. Both do life readings, intuition builder session to help you develop your own abilities, as well as mediumship if you want to connect with someone who's crossed over. You can check that at scottcruzpm.com or join me here every Thursday for my live, or do both. And also catch me on LOL, Leading Out Loud, every Monday with Christopher Witecki, Devin Dewar, and Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot. I think I said it right. We're on, I think, our 13th episode now, I think we're doing. And each month we do one interview guest for the month because we take a day off. And so catch us there. We do sweet and hot topics there, and we kind of time in together as a group. So you can check. I stream it here on my channel, or you can go to Leading Out Loud channel, or Serious Joy, whatever you're familiar with, and catch us every Monday too. So we'll try to fill up your schedule with some more shows coming soon too. And what do you say, Daryl? You fly to Palm Springs and we can be in the same studios. That's right. That's the future to come, actually. So, oh, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. We're still finding our footing, Iris, on the show. And for those who don't know, I actually composed and created the intro song to Leading Out Loud, as well as the song to the start of my show, which I will be leaving you with. So also check out my music. I don't pitch my music enough, you know. There's a link in the description too. We can find my music. A lot of people ask me, and just type up my name on Apple Music or Spotify, and I of course create and write and produce all my own music myself. Do all the singing. Everything's me. And so check that out as well. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Brace yourselves this week, guys. Allow yourselves to hibernate if you have to hibernate. The collective energy is heavy, so isolate if you have to. Be in your own energy. Hibernate a little bit if you have to. It'll do your body good, right? And it'll do your mind good and the spirit body good too. And so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, every single one of you guys. I will see you next week. And remember, you're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love, guys. Have a wonderful night. See you next week. Ciao.
He said it was like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You said like there's something in your end table that you this too.
Hey, go ahead. We're crazy.
Yeah, he's saying hi, baby girl. He's saying hi, baby girl. And is there significance with like image of a rose at all?
He would
Does that
always
make
give me a rose.
Okay, so he's like doing one now. He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine, somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some magnawave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I said, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
There's a reason why we're on this timeline. There's a reason why we've chosen to be in this awakening. I say we're going through a spiritual awakening.
So I don't just come on here and talk bull and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In